Well, January. I love talking about Janus, the god Janus. It's a two-faced god, you know. Uh, one face looking this way and one face looking that way. Janus was the god, Roman deity, who was considered to be the original god. After all, he was there at the beginning. It's the god of transitions and gateways. So the god Janus oversees the coming and the going. It's important to look at a little more symbology. It's been said that Janus looks at the past, looks at the year that has just passed, looks at the past. And the other face looks at the future. So when the face is looking at the past, it can only see through memory, right? And there are all kinds of memories. Two basic ones are euphoric recall. Oh, it was the best of times. And then there's the worst of times. Those are when we look at the past and we remember the shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't, wish I hadn't. We look at those experiences. Then we swing around and we look at the future. And the future can only be seen through our imagination. All of our hopes and all of our dreams. And then it can also be all of our fears. What ifs? The what ifs. What about the middle? Why isn't there a face looking at life straight on? I think they messed up when they made that god up. But here's something really interesting. I find it interesting. Do you know you'll never see your own face? Never. You can't take your eyeballs out, flip them around, and look at your face. You can only see your reflection. I'm inviting you to step in the middle and look at your reflections. Specifically, fears. I want to talk about fears this morning. There's fear, which is a biological response. Don't step on that rattlesnake, for instance, and it's immediate, and you deal with it, and it's gone. And then we have our anxieties. Anxiety is chronic fear, and it's elusive, and it's a little more difficult to deal with. When we find ourselves in a state of chronic fear, anxiety, what we've in essence done is stepped away from the center of our being. Fear, chronic fear, is a movement away from our true selves. I mean, after all, in the divine presence we live and move and have our being, and there is no situation, there is no person, place, or thing that can outdo God. There's no challenge we can have. So when fear crops up its head, those what ifs, or those regrets that make us sad, if onlys, that's a signal for us to stop, look, and listen. Remember that? Stop, look, and listen before you cross the street. Be aware of your emotional self. And be present with yourself. Stop and recognize, oh my gosh, I'm imagining the worst. Give it up. Turn it over. Turn it over. Surrender it to God. Look at the source of your fear. What are you truly afraid of? Loss? Loss is inevitable. There's nothing you can lose other than your own sense of divine self. Love is forever. Quantum entanglement. Once you love somebody, that's forever. That's forever. In a body, out of a body, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So look at what you think has power over you more than the presence of God supports you. Because in essence, that's exactly what we are. We are the divine presence in a body. And then the third thing is listen. Listen. Peace, be still, and listen. Ask for guidance. Simple prayer. Please remove this from me. This lack of faith, this chronic sadness, depression, this anxiety. Ask and receive, and be willing to let go. I have a friend who said, if you turn it over to God and you don't let go, you're just upside down. And that's true. Don't keep picking it up again. Learn to mentor yourself. The definition of mentor is a wise and trusted counselor. A wise and trusted counselor. Be that to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Say nice things to yourself. And most importantly, have compassion for your human predicament. From a place of compassion, realize that there is inside a small, frightened child. Center yourself in the truth of yourself as a divine being, and then comfort that little frightened child. Speak words of encouragement. Speak words of love. There is nothing egotistical about loving yourself. As a matter of fact, it's the bedrock of all love. And if we don't learn to love ourselves and to pay attention to ourselves and to be kind to ourselves, we're probably going to have relationship problems here and there along the way. It's just a fact. Fear. There is nothing to fear. Not even fear itself. Although, that's a famous quote, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. So if you find yourself in a place of fear of what's going to happen next, you're waiting for the diagnosis, you're worried about this or worried about that, have compassion for yourself, stop, look, and listen. I figured out just this morning since I was here, why Janus doesn't have a third face. Because he was the God of transitions. And in the present moment, that's all there is. There is no transition. It's just the present moment. And when we learn to accept the present moment with all of its drama and trauma and all of the things that can happen that threaten our sense of security and well-being, know that that moment too will pass. As a matter of fact, it just did. We just remind ourselves. And then there are all kinds of tools. Talk to someone outside of yourself who is a mentor, who can remind you of the power that you have to weather any storm, any challenge, and to walk peacefully through any transition. Ask yourself this when you find yourself worried. Is it happening now? No. No, it is not happening now. Or you wouldn't be worried, you'd be dealing with it directly in the moment. Remind yourself that this is how it is, moment to moment to moment. In other words, we are called to be the third face of Janus. And I bet you're a lot prettier than the Roman god. So put your face right there in the middle and look at life squarely. Do not run from any fear that you have. Instead, go into it. And what I mean by that, an example I can give is pain management. One of the techniques for pain management is not to resist, because when we resist, we tense up, we make it worse. Go straight into the pain. Breathe into it. Relax your body, and the pain will dissipate. The same is true with fear. Stop, look, and listen. Go straight into it. I remember Jesus, it is said that he said, "Know not that ye are gods." I love King James. That's what I grew up reading. Know ye not. Do you not know that ye are gods? You are gods. Each one of us is a divine presence having a human experience. And sometimes it's a whole lot of fun, and sometimes it isn't. Pull back, take a breath, listen. The divine presence not only guides us, it comforts. It comforts. We are here to be the divine presence on earth, which means we have the capacity to love ourselves, to comfort the parts of us that are afraid, that feel weak, inadequate. It's our responsibility to parent ourselves in the way that maybe a lot of us were not parented. An encouraging, loving, forgiving parent. Or if you prefer, a mentor. A mentor. So here we stand on the threshold of this year. This whole year. Do we know what's going to happen? No. Why worry about it? Do we know when it might happen? No. Why worry about it? Be here now with your heart open, your mind willing to shift perceptions if necessary. If you find yourself, your joy and your peace hijacked, you know what to do, right? Stop, look, and listen. Because God never fails. That's it for the moment. Thank you.